And good evening. I'm Jonathan Higgins of Aficionado.com. And we've got a great broadcast tonight. Yesterday, I actually took a day off from work and followed this story that we're covering tonight, the relocation of the Hamilton, Ohio depot. Now, this depot has been sitting there outside of downtown Hamilton, for years. With no purpose. It was sitting on CSX's property, and they were basically going to say, if nothing's done with it, we're going to tear it down. So a group of citizens and rail fans, of course, have voiced their concerns about this depot, and it was saved. They were able to give the city of of Hamilton, the depot. But the condition, they have to move it off the property. So the city of Hamilton has a piece of property that they can be able to put it on, and it's saved, which is great. So this evening we're going to talk about the depot, and we're also going to talk a little bit about some of these historical buildings that are no longer there. When I grew up in Middleborough, Massachusetts, there was one railroad station still there, which was the main station. There was a fire, which ended up destroying the roof, and then, of course, it was a brick structure, so portions of that part of the building were fine. But it was at the point where they didn't want to save it, and it was torn down. After doing some research about my hometown in Middleborough, I realized that there was two other stations. There was a Rock station and a South Middleborough station on the Cape main track. So I was just amazed by that. If you're interested in railroad history, check out the blog. The last blog entry I wrote was about the Middleborough stations and some of the history around Middleborough. A lot of these stations are no longer there, these stations that were first built when the railroads were built. I mean, this station here has a lot of historical ties, the one we're talking about tonight. Many presidents have passed through there. There's probably been millions of trains over the years. This building is 100 and some odd years old. I mean, you think of everything that's seen over that period of time. Let's start the show and take a look at relocating history. Here it is right here. This is the Hamilton, Ohio depot. The photograph that you see on the right of your screen is the actual location where it was. They're moving the building in two separate times. Basically, the first building is already moved over to the new location. That's the 3-story building that you see there that's jacked up off the ground. The single-story portion of the building is going to be moved next month. So they had to do it in 2 stages. So now they're probably preparing after the holidays. They're going to be preparing that single-story building to be lifted and then moved up the street about 1,000 feet. A little bit of history with the two buildings. The original portion of the station is the single-story portion of the building. And then the larger 3-level portion of it is the newer part. The first section was built in the mid-1850s, and the second part of it was built in the 1880s or 90s. It was towards the end of the 1800s. We want to remind you that this channel is certainly, you are the soul behind this channel. You basically help us by supporting us, by, of course, purchasing stuff in our store at trainaficionado.com. We've got t-shirts, hats, and so much more. So anything that you can help us along with streaming costs and what have you. We actually use a professional streaming software that has a monthly cost. And of course, we're upgrading equipment as well. So anything that you can help us with there, we would greatly appreciate it. We appreciate you watching the shows each and every week. We want to remind you of a great show that we've posted a month or so ago. It was a presentation that I did for the Cincinnati, Ohio Railroad Club. I did it live for them there, and then I ended up recording it so the whole world could see it on our YouTube channel. One of the most famous locations to go rail fanning, of course, is the Horseshoe Curve in Pennsylvania. So what I did is a 20-mile photographic journey up and through the Horseshoe Curve. There are so many great photographic spots along that route, not only at the Horseshoe Curve, but east of it and, of course, to the west of it. So certainly a lot of great stuff there. Make sure you support our channel as well by hitting that subscribe button and follow, like, and subscribe to our social media as well. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. We would greatly appreciate that as well. All right, so let's dive into tonight's broadcast. So we're doing a little bit different this evening. We actually have 3 videos that we're going to air this evening. Within the last 24 hours, we've been working hard to be able to put together 3 different videos for tonight's broadcast. The first video, we'll go over the history of the building. We'll give you kind of a background of it. We'll give you a preview of what the move looks like. The second video in the presentation will be the move, a longer version of the move, being able to see it progressing from its first location to the street, where you can see this depot going down the street and then making its way into a work site. And then the last video, which is one of the coolest, it's only 1 minute long. It's a time lapse of all the action going on in the work site. So as soon as the building makes its way off to the street, it gets into the work site, and there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done when they get into the work site. And you'll be able to see that in the time-lapse video. So if you have any questions, certainly post them in the comments. Hey, and by the way, if you're watching right now, put where you're from. We're curious to see where people are watching us from this evening, so definitely do that as well. Let's start off the presentation with our first video. This is taking a look at the history of the Hamilton Depot.
The Hamilton Depot was originally part of the Cincinnati, Hamilton, and Dayton Railroad, then later became a part of the Baltimore, Ohio. The original part of the station was the one-story section dating back to the mid-1800s. In the later 1800s, the 3-story section was added on. During the station's history, it would see presidential campaign visits from Abraham Lincoln, Teddy Roosevelt, Franklin Roosevelt, Harry Truman.
I remember the wonderful reception you gave me when I was here 4 years ago. I remember the way you voted on Election Day. I like him too.
And Dwight Eisenhower. The station served as a stop for the Cincinnatian running between Detroit, Michigan and Cincinnati, Ohio. The Night Express also originated from Detroit, traveling further south into Kentucky. The last Baltimore, Ohio passenger train stopped at the station on April the 30th of 1971. Passenger service would return to the depot in 1980 with Amtrak's Cardinal service. The station was already in poor condition with ridership extremely low. 15 years later, in October of 2005, Amtrak would discontinue its Hamilton station stop. The citizens of Hamilton made their voices heard to save this historical landmark. Through petitions and governmental support, the City Council voted to save the depot. In 2021, CSX donated the structure to the City of Hamilton. Under one condition, the building must be moved from its current location off of CSX property. The depot will be relocated 1,000 feet north of its current location, just up the street at the corner of Martin Luther King Boulevard and Maple Ave. The relocation will consist of two parts, moving the three-story section of the building first, and then in January of 2023, the one-story section will be transferred to the new location. When driving through Hamilton, it's hard not to cross the railroad tracks. This once industrial city is nearly 25 miles north of Cincinnati, Ohio. Currently, the city is a major junction for both Norfolk Southern and CSX, with its 4 active railroad lines. CSX's main line, which cuts right through the heart of the city, serves both Norfolk Southern and CSX traffic. Hamilton, Ohio rail fans can see upwards from 30 to 40 trains daily. Preparation for the move took several weeks. Masons removed the bricks, which were saved to be replaced once the move was finished. The building was then lifted to be put on wooden crib boxes and steel beams. Later, hydraulic wheels were added, and then it was ready for the big day. On this chilly morning of Tuesday, December the 20th of 2022, we got set up to watch the 3-story building make its way 1,000 feet up the street to its new home. The Hamilton police closed MLK Boulevard so the building could be moved safely while rail fans and local residents witnessed history in the making. Once the depot reached the worksite, the movement would stop for a moment while workers prepped the wooden box cribs. These cribs would hold the building over the new foundation while mason work is done on the lower level of the building. In order to place the building perfectly on top of the new foundation, the workers had to create steel ramps to guide the building into position. With every inch forward, the crew made sure the building was level and used tape measures to be sure the building would be precisely placed over the new foundation. The future plans for this depot are not finalized, but I think it's safe to say the building is no longer in danger of a wrecking ball. The one-story part of the building will be moved sometime in January of 2023, weather permitting. Jonathan Higgins, Hamilton, Ohio, for TrainAficionado.com.
And welcome back. We're live right here on Train Aficionado's YouTube channel. The piece that you just watched moments ago, I would love to be able to do more of that, and I hope to in 2023. So that's some newer programming that's coming where I kind of take a role out in the field, maybe do some stuff in front of the camera, of course, put together a package like what you just saw. I'm just thrilled to be able to see that this depot is actually going to be saved. As I was talking just before we rolled this video, there's a whole bunch of train depots that are long gone, roundhouses and signal towers and so many different things that are out there that are railroad history that are long gone and haven't been saved. Just to give you some background, the city of Hamilton basically allocated $2 million for this project to be able to, one, move the station and, of course, be able to restore it back to its glory. They haven't decided what the purpose of the depot could be. Hopefully, maybe a restaurant, or there's been talk of doing some sort of breweries, those hip breweries that they have out there now. Which a very cool place to be able to have dinner and but I don't know what the future is, but I know it's certainly going to be restored. And the great thing about it is I can't wait to be able to go inside of it once it's restored. Also in Hamilton, Ohio, there's I believe another train building that's there, and they're trying to rehab that as well. So I think Hamilton is in the right direction with, of course, saving these historical structures, as you see here. We've got another video. This is going to be a little bit more just the moving of the depot, basically going from the location where it was all the way up to the new spot. So this is a little bit more video of the depot making its way heading north. And that is MLK Boulevard, Martin Luther King Boulevard, that it's traveled up. The great thing about it is I actually watched this from the parking garage, and they didn't have to deal with any electric lines. It was pretty much a fairly easy move. The concerning thing was coming off the sidewalk, and what they did is they laid some dirt down to be able to kind of make it a smooth transition from where it was off the sidewalk and then onto the street, and then the same thing. And you saw in the video, and you're going to see it in this next video, they used those steel plates, and they kept a forklift driver kept rotating them in, to give that the wheels that are underneath a nice smooth path. The other coolest thing about it is you notice that back in the old days, you probably may have seen some buildings move. They use a truck. These are powered wheels underneath the building. And there's a gentleman, if you pay attention in the next video, he actually has a remote control. So it's kind of like a Hot Wheels remote control type of thing, but it's a huge building. You'll be able to see that. So take a look at the next video. You'll see a gentleman that's basically in front of it operating a controller. So let's take a look at this next video. This is going to be all the video we shot of the building moving north 1,000 feet from its original location. So let's take a look at it now. Welcome back. We're live here tonight, and that was our moving video. So basically, what ended up happening is there's a parking garage in Hamilton, Ohio. I was at the top level, so we got up there around 7:30. I wasn't too sure what it was going to be like. I mean, the city, of course, announced that they were going to be moving the building starting at 9 a.m. They were going to restrict lanes and restrict access to the road. So we got up in the parking garage at 7:30 and basically waited, and then ended up watching the depot move. We had an iPhone, which was doing a time lapse, and then of course I had my video camera up there. I had my photography camera as well up there, so I was taking still photos. I ended up walking down the five flights, taking some shots from the ground, as you can see in both videos. You know, some of those ground level shots. I went around and took some video of that as well, and photos. So I was the dork that had the video camera and my digital DSLR. So, but yeah, I mean, it was super cool. I mean, I'm excited to be able to hopefully watch the second portion of the building, I should say, moving from the original site up to the new site. It was very chilly at 7 o'clock in the morning. And as you could see, it was pretty foggy too. In the beginning of some of the video, you could see like almost like a foggy type of mist, and then it started to brighten up as the building came into the work site. I just was really excited to be able to cover this. I ended up telling my boss, I need the day off. I want to film an old train depot moving from one spot to another. He said, "Oh yeah, all right. Well, let me know when it is." So originally I thought it was going to be the week before this week, but it ended up being this week, and I was so happy they announced it. So I ended up telling my boss, "Well, I need this day off," and I ended up taking today off as well. Thankfully, we had a lot of footage that we had to go through and basically edit and work on. So it was quite a project to be able to do this. We literally got up this morning. I started editing, and right up to the timeline of doing the show, to broadcast. But we do have one more video that we can share before we wrap it up for this evening. If you have any questions or comments, certainly keep them coming in to the chat. What we're going to show right now is a time lapse. Basically, 1 minute of video that shows everything that's occurring once it gets inside the area where they're working on the building, where they're going to be setting up the building. So let's take a look at it right now. Wow, that is super cool being able to see a time lapse back here live in our studios in Cincinnati, Ohio. Hamilton is just north of me, about 15 minutes or so, or pretty much less than that. So I had the opportunity to be able to record this event yesterday. If you notice something, we're a little bit clearer. Yes, we're broadcasting now in 4K. This is something new for the Train Aficionado show, and if you're a fan of the Train Aficionado show and also the Scanner Guys, we're also going to be in 4K as well. So we really appreciate you watching the program tonight. This will be our final broadcast for 2022, planned broadcast. I'm not too sure if I'll go live anytime before the end of the year, but this is the final 2022 planned broadcast, and we want to thank you so much for supporting the channel and watching our broadcasts each and every month right here on both channels, the Train Aficionado channel and the Scanner Guys. I mean, it's certainly great to have you here. You want to make sure you stay connected. We do have the Trackside Bulletin, which you can sign up for at trainaficionado.com. We have our social media as well, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, make sure you do that. That certainly helps us along as well. And of course, for tons of content, check out all of our other social media as well. And check out the website. As I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, I didn't realize there was 3 depots in Middleborough, Massachusetts, where I grew up. And I was able to find photographs of them and wrote a great article about it. So not only do we have the video broadcast, we also have the blog as well. So if you're getting into the hobby, certainly check out that as well. Hey, by the way, we do have a store which you can check out on the website at trainaficionado.com. We've got some t-shirts, hats, hoodies, and what have you. So definitely check that out on the website. And of course, you doing so helps to support the channel as well. And that's pretty much our broadcast for this evening. I want to thank you so much. We're approaching the holiday season. So Merry Christmas. We hope that you have a great and safe new year. And catch us again next year. We're actually going to be, our first broadcast, looking over at the calendar, is January the 4th. Wednesday, January the 4th is where we're kicking off the new year with a brand new broadcast. And if you're in the Cincinnati, Ohio area, make sure you check out the Cincinnati Railroad Club. They have their meeting at the Cincinnati Union Terminal, 7:30 on the first Thursday of each month. A great organization. I'm actually going to be hosting a rail fanning scanner class. You probably have seen the post on our social media, Facebook and Twitter. So if you're within the area, definitely check that out. You can also learn more on the website, trainaficionado.com. We have an event tab. We actually have a rail fanning scanning 101 and 102 class, which I'll be conducting right at the historical Cincinnati Union Terminal. But thank you so much for watching our first 4K broadcast. We have a lot more planned in 2023. I can't believe it's already the end of 2022. Be safe out there. Keep warm. Dale, 28 negative. Oh, that is chilly. But yeah, next week we'll be live as well with the Scanner Guys. So if you're a fan of that show, definitely join us. Keep warm, keep safe. I think we're getting some snow before Christmas, so that should be interesting. We already went and did some shopping. But yeah, the Newsreel Theater, beautiful theater. Definitely check out the Cincinnati Railroad Club. They meet monthly, the first Thursday, 7:30 at Cincinnati's Union Terminal. Oh my God, it's a beautiful terminal, breathtaking. Certainly, I can't get enough of taking photos of it. And our next meeting will be in the Newsreel Theater. We'll have more information, of course, on our social media, and then check out their social media as well. So keep safe out there. Have a great and wonderful holiday season. We'll catch you again next week on the Scanner Guys, and then back again for Train Aficionado live in the new year.